been roughly 2 years now, so where should I begin? In 2018 I just packed my bag, said goodbye to friends and family and took a plane in Frankfurt. One quick stop in India, drink some chai tea and eat samosa, and I kept flying to Sydney. From Sydney it was one more plane to Cairns, my first destination. Cairns is a beautiful place, located in the north of Queensland, where the rainforest meets the reef. I booked a nice hostel, made some friends and started to explore what the city and surroundings had to offer. The town centre is full of Aboriginal art, colourful lights, bars and shops. There's also a farmer's market on the weekend where you can get fresh veggies you might have never seen before. One shop is selling delicious coffee which grows less than 50 k's away, just gorgeous. And by the way, 50 k's means nothing in a country like Australia. Unfortunately, you can't go swim in the ocean straight on the beach, because there are crocodiles close by, but Cairns has a really nice esplanade where you can spend some time and watch the sunrise while thousands of bats are flying around. But you can also see some weird things like kangaroo balls as souvenirs, tiny ants carrying around dead cockroaches for dinner, and cockroaches even bigger than a walnut. In some hostels you can do work for accommodation to save some money. That's why I started cooking for a bunch of backpackers 5 times a week. I also worked 3 days a week in a small veggie restaurant, which was quite nice because I learned a few new things and I could save some more cash. And then I met this awesome Belgian guy, Ben. He took me and 2 others to a place called Crystal Cascades outside of Cairns. After a little walk through the forest, we ended up at this beautiful location. We decided to follow the stream and explore the upper areas of the waterfalls.
Water's getting deep now, water's getting deep now, follow me around, yeah. Can you let me down? Please don't let me down, yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, let me down. Can you let me down? Please don't let me down.
Shouldn't we check how deep it is first?
I also did a 1-day diving trip, what made me so hyped about diving that I decided to start my license. I mean, I was just at the beginning of my journey, so to me it totally made sense to do it straight away, because I knew I would do plenty more dives. And damn, I was right. On another day, I took a ferry to Fitzroy Island, which is known for being home to plenty of turtles. This is what I saw when I arrived at the pier. A beautiful palm beach, a large school of fish, and yes, that's a trampoline on the ocean. First of all, I made a short walk through the forest and had something like my first little jungle experience, which looked something like this. Subsequently, I made it to the beach, which was extremely beautiful. I have never seen something like this before. So what should you do when you find a perfect spot which looks like God kissed the land by himself? Right, you take some Instagram photos. Finally it was time to jump in the ocean with the goal to spot at least one turtle, and yes, I was successful. Have a look for yourself. That was beautiful, wasn't it? Anyway, back in Cairns I bought a car and with a few friends I made a day trip to Cape Tribulation. So, may I introduce Jenny, Marcus, Zainab and Elias. We drove a couple of hours and made our first stop at the beach for a quick rest and to enjoy the sun. Half an hour later we kept driving and made our way to a fruit farm where I finally saw my first banana tree and many other fruits growing like jackfruit, soursop, sapote, pineapple, passion fruit, dragon fruit and many more. Later on we drove to our last stop, the rainforest itself. With its 180 millions of years, it's the oldest rainforest in the world, which makes it tens of millions of years older than the Amazon rainforest. Impressed with this information in the back of our mind, we had a walk at the Matcha Botanic Walk and the Debuchy Boardwalk. And it looked something like this. And it was time to leave Cairns behind, so I grouped with 2 Germans, 2 Belgians and a French guy. We hit the road south and made our way down to Early Beach where we then split up. But before we did, I made some memories I will never forget. Bonfires, waterfalls, sunrises, feeding kangaroos and even more beaches. I appreciate the time we had. Thanks guys. Before I continued traveling further south, I met a new friend and joined a 3-day sailing tour which I had booked in advance. I watched sunrise and sunset daily and made it to the famous White Sundays, which is this unreal landscape you might have seen on Instagram or somewhere on the internet before. They also filmed a few scenes of Pirates of the Caribbean in here. It has the clearest sand in the world and no idea if it's true, but I was told that the NASA takes this sand to build a glass for their spaceships. The boat took us to a few various locations for swimming, diving, snorkeling or just to enjoy the sun. And guess what? Of course I went for a couple of dives, but I also did some snorkeling because I spotted some whales.
Today I'ma wake up a new man, driving a new road, develop a new plan. I'll never be blue, man, whatever the view, man. Go to a new beach, get me a win, I never fall. I've been gone for a minute, yeah, had to be free. You want it, I got it, so tell me what you need. I'm unchained, unfazed, and unwilling. It's a new day, new world, we all winning. I'm up late, up early, I gotta get it. Keep working, now we gotta make a million. Go get it, you got it, I see you. Go get it, you got it, I see you. Go get it, you got it, I see you. Go get it, you got it, I see you. Go get it, you got it, I see you. Go get it, you got it, I see you. I know you could do it. All you gotta do is put your mind to it.
Now it was time to continue traveling, but I ran out of money, so I didn't make it to Brisbane like I actually planned. The solution for this problem was to work on a farm, what I planned anyway to qualify for the second year visa. But sadly, I stranded in Bundaberg, which is known for being a bad place to work on a farm as a backpacker, what I can confirm mostly. It was the first dark chapter on this journey, but whatever, that's life. I worked on farms with really bad conditions, but there were also farms which I really enjoyed.
Tschub, tschub, jo, das ist der neue Job, würde ich mal sagen.
Like a ginger farm or the macadamia farm where I worked with Russell. And I stayed in a hostel with some cool Asians, mostly from Taiwan. The night before I left, we had dinner together and everyone cooked something. Happy end after a terrible time. The Bundaberg experience taught me the more you work under shitty conditions, the more you enjoy and appreciate the people who suffer with you. But after a month, I had enough money to keep traveling, so it was time to hit the road again. Now it was time for Brisbane, but there was something else I had to do before. It was the second time for me in Australia. I've been on the Sunshine Coast when I was 17 as a high school student for 5 months. It was the most exciting but also the most life-changing time of my life, and when I left I told myself I'll be back one day. And now it was that day. I spent a day with an old friend, Chad, and luckily I was also able to see my host family from 10 years ago. I spent a couple of nights at my host brother's house and we went to the beach to have some surf sessions. Just kidding, that wasn't me, it was more like this. But we still had a great time, thanks to Josh and Jamie, Janet and Peter, Alan and of course Chad. I also had a quick stop in Gympie where I met with Vicky, who's been a teacher of mine. She invited me to stay at her house with her sweet and crazy dogs. This heartwarming lady was responsible for all the international students and really took care of me and my friends. But then I finally drove to Brisbane. But I think I should close this chapter here because the video is getting way too long. Some final words: it really sucks to edit my terrible footage. I promise it will get better, but we're not there yet. Also, the editing process is another journey. I practice a lot and there are always new things to learn. If you continue watching my rubbish, you will see the progress. If not, goodbye. But if you do, see you next time. Cheers!